Amnesia, the anime, is based off the Otome game of the same name that came out in 2011. Created by Brains-based studio, which did other anime you may recognize, like Durarara, Spice and Wolf, My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, Bakano, My Little Monster, which I have already done a review of in the past, Blood Lad, Natsume's Book of Friends, Defrag, Princess Jellyfish, Sir Vamp, and Kiss Him Not Me. The anime ran from January 7th to March 25th of 2013. This anime is known for having very mixed reviews by anime watchers and original visual novel fans alike. While the positive reviews praised the anime for its animation, pacing, and originality that the visual novel provided, negative reviews panned the series for its story being sexist, its characters being way too submissive, dominant, or just flat out annoying, and the ending to the series answering less questions viewers had in mind. Now, for somebody who has been introduced to visual novel adaptations pretty often, I can vouch that plenty of them are really banging on the fact that you have to play the visual novel or game to understand what the fuck is happening. However, Amnesia was considered to be my first visual novel adapted anime, and I kinda have some nostalgic feelings towards it while watching it. However, I do understand both sides of the review argument to why this is a good series and why this is a bad series. And the only way to do that is if I begin this review right with the plot. The story starts off with a girl who we will call Heroine for the rest of this review, cause that's the name given to her on my anime list and everywhere else, who wakes up from a spill and she can't remember a thing. The person who's going to help her is this little twat named Orion, named after the constellation. What she finds out is that she works at a cafe with 4 friends, Shin, Iki, Toma, and Kent. And this story is basically trying to find out if she's dating any of them, because each time she gets close to any of them, she ends up in another universe where she is dating a different guy. Also, there's a strange character in each world who tells her that something bad is coming but won't tell her what it is. So what this series is trying to tell me is, if this little cretin did not exist, this girl would not be suffering with the plot that is happening right as we speak. As far as the plot is concerned, it's pretty basic. And there's really nothing much I can say about it except, why the hell does it have a switching universe plot? The only thing that I can come up with that's really a plot twist is what involves this character, Ukyo, but I would honestly be spoiling the entire series if I explained that right now. However, I do appreciate this series' originality to an extent. I don't recall many series that have a main character actually go through amnesia to pick a dating route, and trust me, if I actually played the game, it probably would have been easier to understand as I played. But if anything, it's not really the plot itself that turns me off, because if anything, the plot could have been done more interestingly if I had gotten my hands on it. But what really sets me off are, you thought it, the characters. As I was planning out this review, I thought it would kind of be a good idea if I started off with the boys in this Otome harem, then end with the heroine and other characters. I just thought that it would be easier to explain if I started off with the boys that she'll get to pick, and then talk about the heroine and why she makes a good or bad character. Shin has to be the best of the bunch, and why did he have to be put first? All the best characters go first. Then we have Iki, who is the popular guy with a super creepy and obsessive fan club. Like, seriously, what is this? Fruits basket? Next is Kent, who is basically Kyoya, dressed in green. There's really no need for explanation there. And then there's Toma. God damn Toma. I hated this character so much that if I were in the heroine's position, after I escaped that cage, I would have grabbed a knife and stabbed him to death instead of letting him live. This is also for the game's sake too. Whoever thought it was a good idea to have a main female lead fall in love with an abusive asshole who keeps his girlfriend in a cage in order to protect them from whatever it is, I hope they never found success ever again, because why? So after ranting about that, we get to the heroine, who is the main character of the show, obviously. Yup, just like her name, this girl has little to no personality whatsoever, despite the fact that she has amnesia. It does make sense because she lost her memory and all that, but the worst part about this girl in particular is that she's naive and submissive as heck. At least with Alice from the Country of Hearts series, even though she's stuck in a world that she doesn't understand, she defends herself when something isn't right. This girl right here just decides to become a pawn in every single universe she ends up in. She almost gets killed by Iki's fan club. She's a doll test dummy for Kent. And she, for some reason, forgives Toma after she was trapped in a cage with no way to escape if Orion wasn't there. What girl actually goes through that nonsense and thinks it's normal? Absolutely nobody. Oh, but she gets worse, not better. And now I'm finally getting to talk about Orion, and dear God, this character has to be one of the most irrelevant sidekicks I have ever witnessed in my life. So apparently, this little runt was responsible for giving the heroine amnesia in the first place because he wanted to see what Earth was like? No comment. But what makes it worse is that he's not in the series that much at all, especially when it comes to the heroine trying to figure out which one of the boys is really her boyfriend. Whenever he does come up, it's at the beginning when he's trying to help her out, every time the heroine goes to a new universe and leaves, and at the end. This whole story was his fault, and he doesn't do much about it. I honestly believe he was better in the game, but in the anime, he's just unreliable. Now this is the part of the video that I will say that we're going into some spoiler territory in this section. So if you guys have not seen this series and you really don't want to be spoiled for whatever reason, you can go to this time slot above here. So it'll move on to the next section. And yes, for the spoilers, I will be talking about the mysterious character. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled, click here. But if you don't care, you might as well just move on anyway. In the last 2 episodes of the anime, it shows you that there was actually a 5th universe the heroine ends up in, and it involves our mysterious stranger, Ukyo. We were introduced to Ukyo as a photographer, and he has been telling the heroine that something is about to happen that she should prepare for. Then we come to find out that the world was going to come to an end, and the one who was going to bring that world to an end is Ukyo himself. He claims that in the original world that the heroine came from, Ukyo was her boyfriend. So for some reason, he is the reason why the world is going to destroy the heroine and everything else. So was he like God or something? This is the part where viewers who never played the game were like, what the shit is this? And remember when I said that the heroine doesn't get much better?
Well, it turns out that the solution to solving the problem of not getting killed by Ukyo is that if the heroine pulls off a Phantom of the Opera moment. Yup, heroine pulls off a Christine by letting herself fall in love with Ukyo to stop him from destroying the world.
Now, to be fair, in Phantom at least, the Phantom let Christine go because Christine realized that she had to sacrifice herself in order to save the person she really loved most, which was Raoul in this case. Raoul was actually going to die, and in order to save him because she loved him, Christine said, "Of course, Phantom, I'll marry you, I'll do whatever you say, just let Raoul go." And it's her sacrifice that makes the Phantom realize she is a better person than he will ever be, so she deserves a better person than him. In the heroine's case, she makes a sacrifice for basically her own safety. She is about to die in this collapsing world, and what does she do to save herself? She gives herself up to the person who is about to kill her. Now, for granted, for some odd reason, this guy had some, demon possession going on, and this was probably not his original self. But considering when this anime was made, it could have gone a more progressive route than the heroine being the weak piece of shit that she is to just give in to some guy who was about to kill her because he thought he could save himself by destroying her. Now you see why this section is the reason why this anime is giving me some brain hemorrhage.
I'm sure that there were better ways to get around this. What about Orion? Doesn't he have some sort of superpowers? Where was he when the heroine was about to die? Again, nowhere.
And now with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next section, which is actually a lot more pleasant than anything else.
Animation to this anime is straight up gorgeous. I love the colors they picked, the movement is very clean, and the magical elements are pretty well done. When it comes to music,
one of my favorite openings in anime music.
the ending song I don't remember so well, and the in-track music was pretty strange. It had a darker vibe than it should, but I suppose that was because of the plot twist ending. Which I should not spoil now, because I already mentioned it in the characters section.
And I might as well say this because I did watch the English dub of this show in comparison to the Japanese dub. Even though I did watch the only the first episode in Japanese, I think it was because I actually first saw it in my anime club in high school, and being the trying not to be weeb as possible, they decided to show the Japanese dub of anything. Either that or the dub didn't come out yet. I don't remember because I did finish the anime years after that day. And with some shows, the dub either comes out immediately after the show starts, or it could come a year or two after the Japanese dub is finished. And for the English dub, it was actually pretty good. The voice characters were, I don't know, pretty fit for what they got for character development. And if anything, it was the English dub that probably kept me to watch the series until the very end instead of dropping it right after the first arc. So that's one for the count, I suppose. So in the end, Am I saying that this is a good anime? Not by any means of the word. If anything, this anime is average, average in comparison to any bland visual novel or harem anime I've ever seen. However, for the elements that it does have, they do it pretty well, and the plot was pretty original and interesting for a visual novel adaptation or anything like that. So I'm giving it a surprising rating of 7 out of 10, just because it does have its originality. The music did give it a little bit of character, and there was like one or two characters that were actually pretty decent. But if we're really gonna dig deeper into this show, it's not complex. If anything, it's not complex in visual novel or original intention, but as far as trying to stuff the whole story into a 12 episode anime, 12 episodes really doesn't do it justice. Like, I think this had to be some sort of movie, like Alice in the Country of Hearts, to get in all the information from the game that I could possibly can. And and if they were to do it again, either A, make it a movie, or B, make it a longer TV series. Because, if anything, this could probably be more interesting if the studio had more time to put in if not all, most of the elements from the original game. Does this mean this anime is my guilty pleasure? Probably not. But if I were to watch it again, I'd only watch the first arc because, yeah, Shin is the only guy who I actually like. So that's all for this anime review. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a like and care to explore the rest of my channel if you wish. Also, if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button so that you're all caught up with this channel. I'm Cait, Cher, and it's been real. Ciao!